Podcast. You guys, today we are joined by dating expert, famous people for dating. Mm-hmm. It is Amiira Ruotola, got that last name right, and Greg Behrendt.
That was so good. I love that.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, that was really good.
Our last name's Iconetti. I would hope you could be able to pronounce that.
Right. And
Iconetti.
You guys currently host the Maybe It's You podcast, which Jared and I were on a couple weeks ago. It was a fabulous experience.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Jared left being like, I felt like we went to couples therapy. I feel
he
so
said that was the
fresh.
best podcast I've ever listened to or done.
Oh,
that's so weird because it's about sports. It's a sports podcast, so that's really weird. But,
he was rejuvenated. And then you guys have also authored 3 books together? Four now.
Oh, yeah, well, the first book, Amira's name, it was Liz's idea. The girl
so Amira's name's not
but
on
I didn't
there.
want to do it, and Amira talked me into doing it.
Okay, he's just not that into you.
Yeah.
The famous, he's just not that into you.
That's right.
So you guys did take part in that together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we wrote, it's called A Breakup Because It's Broken.
It's a breakup because it's broken.
Right. And then
it's just a beep date?
Just an
effing date.
Yep.
And then our new one is called How to Keep Your Marriage from Sucking.
Amazing. All right.
Naz has a question about
Before we get started, though, Amiira, I have an I don't get it. I see you have a LaCroix or LaCroix in your hand, the sparkling water can.
I'm currently enjoying a passion fruit flavored LaCroix.
I don't get people that drink this, and I feel like everyone that's drinking it is just saying that they like it, but they actually don't like it because I think it tastes like moose saliva.
Right.
Just that flavor or just LaCroix in general?
All LaCroix taste like nothing.
LaCroix will not be our sponsor.
It is a scam.
Is it?
I have no reference for what moose saliva tastes like.
Right.
But I don't go to the same clubs you do.
Yeah.
I love the passion fruit, the lemon, and the key lime of the LaCroix, and I think they're delicious.
My daughter talked me out of drinking them a couple weeks ago.
Why?
She just goes, you should drink regular water.
Is there really a difference?
And she
because
says
you're
it's better
not getting
for you.
hydrated, right?
Right.
No, you aren't. You getting hydrated?
There's water,
Why
but
not?
everyone's saying LaCroix tastes so good. You don't think that. I think it tastes really good. And there must be some cancerous chemical in there that will all die
when I
in
went
a couple
back
years.
to try it the other night, it did taste a little bit like, this tastes like coins.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
yes,
you.
It does.
yes.
It tastes a little bit like nickel.
Greg is smelling what I'm stepping
I think it tastes
in.
a little bit like
bit.
alcohol.
That's not the drink. That's the can.
Oh, well, that's not good
drinks
either,
in a
right?
can taste like can.
Yeah.
I think it tastes a little bit like it's spiked, so I feel like I'm
Yeah.
drinking like a seltzer in vodka or
You're
something.
playing a game called Whose Finger Is This? It tastes like, this is
Agreed.
dirty. Yeah.
I don't
agree
get
I
it.
think I agree with you. But I will have them from time to time, but I've gone back to water.
Right. Well,
Because
Greg, I appreciate that. But one thing I do get is the fact that you co-wrote He's Just Not That Into You, which is arguably
Both
a movie
of
that
you.
has changed all of our lives.
A movie and a book.
That is referenced every day of our lives.
Yes.
Really, almost every day of our lives, do I say something that pertains to what you guys talked about in the film or the book?
Right.
I am like, how many times do I tell Jared and people about Jared and my relationship and saying that we are the exception to the rule? Always saying that. And then how many times do we tell girlfriends that he's just not that into you? All the time.
All the time. It's a simple answer.
So, can you please divulge in the birth of that book and like where it came from, why you wrote it, how it kind of got started?
I mean, it's
and how it
pretty-
became a movie.
I was, okay. So I was working as a consultant on Sex and the City. Yeah.
Which is a whole other thing we will dive into in a minute. Yeah.
And it was like, I think it's in the last season, and I was on a lunch break, and one of the girls that was a writer there said, I'm seeing a guy and he won't have sex with me. Do you think that's bad? And then I just stared at her for 15 minutes. And and then eventually I said, yes, I do think that's bad. And then she goes, because she had invited him up the night before, and then she goes, we had to work, Greg. I'm like, are you mad at me now? I don't know
Like,
why
how-
you're taking a tone.
How little does someone have to like someone else not to have sex with you? Like,
I
she
don't-
must have been real gross.
A guy.
No, that's the
No?
thing that was, she
No,
was one
Lauren,
of the...
guys haven't wanted to have sex with me sometimes.
Then they hate you.
No, that's also not the case, though.
Well, here's the thing. So, like, no, she was actually the opposite, and also a writer in Hollywood, and like a person who had to work really hard to be where they were. Like, there weren't that many female writers on sitcoms at that time, and this was a staff of entirely women and two gay men and me, and So she was kind of exceptional. So I was like, why is she letting this area of her life sort of slack? And why is she being dumb here and smart everywhere else? But I think sometimes people just want what they want, or they think they don't deserve better, or they don't think they're going to meet anyone better. And they try and make, like you say, can we swear on this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is
they
HBO.
try and make what do you say? What is it?
Chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Out of chicken shit, yeah.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter how much mayonnaise you add.
so I said, we started talking about it. Eventually I said, he's just not that into you. And I don't remember even saying it. And Liz Tuchillo, who's the co-author of the book, said, oh my God, he's just not that into you.
Was she in the room too? As
people started
writer?
to join the conversation. And then we went back to work, because we were out in the hallway. We went back to work, and then that's all we talked about. And girls were literally like, just asking me questions the whole time. So if if a guy's married to somebody else, then he can't. He's a bad choice. Yeah. Yes.
I know you've probably said this for so many years, but it's still the most relevant thing ever, and it will be the most relevant thing ever.
What, just saying straight up that?
Oh, it's a very simple answer. Yeah.
That's the kind of beauty of it.
It gives you the element of it, you're not wrong. He's kind of into you. You're not imagining this whole thing. But if he only wants to see you when he's drunk, or he wants him just to his friends or family, it just is that thing of he's into you. He's just not that into you.
When you outline it, you're like, why do you want these reduced versions of what you probably hoped your relationship would be like? Like a guy that only comes over at 4 o'clock in the morning, or doesn't want to call it by a name, or he has a lot going on at work, or his life's heavy right now. And, that stuff, you're just like, oh my God, yawn, because I said all those things to people when I was like, I still like them.
Well, it's funny you say that, Greg, that she had all this stuff going on and you didn't understand why she liked someone when she was putting all her effort and energy into every other part of her life and was smart in other parts of her life, but not that part of her life. But my dad always said something that made so much sense to me, which was reason has nothing to do with matters of the heart. Which is when it comes to liking someone, it's all your IQ goes out the window, and you start thinking here instead of up here.
Well, there were also women that hated the notion of the book, and they were like, "I know when someone doesn't like me." I'm like, "That's not what I'm saying." I'm not trying to. We're not trying to start a cult here. I'm just saying, this is what it looks like when anything's failing you. If you work at a place for a long time and they pass you over for promotion, it's not happening. That's not your place. Get real with what's happening in your life and look at the facts as opposed to ruminating on these, well, maybe, it's got to be a better time or whatever.
Let's take it a step further beyond how you got up with the concept of the book and more about how you even got to be a script consultant on Sex and the City. What made you qualified to talk about that female dialogue?
Okay, so I'm a stand-up. I've been a stand-up for 30 years, and Michael Patrick King, who is the executive producer, is also stand-up, and we knew each other from doing this place called Largo, which used to be over in West Hollywood, and it was sort of where all the Mr. Show people came from, Janine Garofalo, it was sort of the beginning of the alternative comedy thing in the 90s, and he just liked me. He said, you were the guy I was trying to be when I was pretending I was straight. A slightly evolved... I like lamps and furniture, and and I wasn't afraid to wear a little nail polish at the time, and so he liked me. And then this is what he said, and this is for sure not PG. He said, I ran into him, and he said, "I'd love for you to come over to Sex and the City." Because the staff is 7 women and 2 gay men, and nobody here knows what pussy tastes like.
Oh my goodness!
And I literally, I was trying to go, did I hear that? Wait, I was stunned. I was like, what the? Yeah. And so he, so then I went over there, and that's exactly what on the very first day, that's what they wanted to talk about.
Wait, so Greg, do you know the segments that we do on this podcast that relates to Sex and the City? Ashley, did you talk about that?
I told him a little bit about how Jared is always mad that I didn't call him big, but he came home from doing Help I Suck at Dating one day, and he was like, this guy Greg told me firsthand, as a writer of Mr. Big, that I shouldn't be Mr. Big to you. And I was like, see? And he felt so much better after that conversation.
Yeah, nobody wants to be big. Big is immature and unattainable and not available and probably doesn't have great relationships and buys a place up in Napa or whatever the hell he did.
So we have
at the end of that thing. He made some really dumb choices.
When you're tired, you take a Napa. You don't move to Napa.
That's right.
Okay, so it's no secret. I've told you guys this before on the podcast, but I think one of my biggest issues in life and a New Year's resolution every year that I really, truly try and get better at is to drink more water, but I'm just not good at it like Ashley and Lauren are. I'm really not. I think a part of it is because I bloat a lot, and sometimes I have jobs where I have to be there in the moment. I don't have the liberty to run out to the bathroom every 5 minutes, and because of my fibroids, I do have to like inherently want to pee all the time. So those are reasons that I deprive myself of water, which, yes, I know are terribly bad. But I have to tell you about this product that has genuinely changed my life. So it's called Liquid IV. And it's basically a powder of electrolytes that you put in your water bottle. But this is not your average electrolyte drink mix. There's no GMO. It has clean ingredients. But get this. This is why I am so hooked on it. First of all, it tastes amazing. It's vegan, free of gluten, dairy, soy, all that good stuff. So, you're putting good shit in your body. But it provides the same hydration as drinking 2 to 3 bottles of water in one bottle of water, guys.
Unbelievable.
So if you have 3 bottles of water, all with Liquid IV in it, with all their yummy, really good flavors.
Does that mean you had 9 bottles of water?
Exactly.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
so you're
amazing.
super hydrated. Your skin looks bomb. Everything's amazing. I'm not like peeing as much. It also contains like 5 essential vitamins that include like more vitamin C than an orange and as much potassium as a banana, which Lauren, I haven't told you guys yet. I'm now found out that I'm allergic to eggs and banana.
Banana,
so I don't have
so
bananas anymore.
random.
I know, isn't that weird? Anyways, I digress. It donates 1 serving to people in need for every order placed. So not only are you giving back to your body, you're giving back to the world. It's health conscious for your everyday athlete. And again, it fuels your tough workouts. It helps prevent muscle fatigue. I like it for like after a night out. Like if you're hungover, I'm telling you guys, you pop one in a water bottle and you're like, today, even Lauren, you know this. I felt sick. I had a Liquid IV and instantly I felt more energized. So I really want you guys to be able to try this. I love Liquid IV so much, and I really know you guys will too. And right now, our listeners are going to get 20% off at liquid-iv.com when you use our code GETIT, GETIT at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order on their website. Again, go to liquid-iv.com, enter our code GETIT to get your savings and start getting better hydration. That's liquid-iv.com, promo code GETIT. Don't wait, get hydrated today. We've had segments where girls call in and they tell us who their big is in their life. And it's actually been a huge part of like our podcast. So since we have you're just like such a coveted, both of you guys, can you kind of go into that character and like, what was the idea behind Big at first and how did it turn out? And should Carrie have ended up with Big?
I mean, here's what's really funny. So I worked on the show, but I hadn't even watched it the first season that I wasn't on, and Amiira did. And so when that was around the time we met. So I got into it because of her, and I think we fought about it at the beginning.
No way.
I thought Big was cool. And I think you were like, no. And I was like, no, he's kind of a badass, But I was thinking, I was actually just thinking about
he's a Chrysler building.
Yeah, I understood the appeal, but I also was like, he is jerking her around so hard.
Yeah, he's just a sort of updated version of John Hamm from Mad Men. Like, he's just an unattainable guy who's never going to find happiness because he also believes he's cool. That's part of what his charm is. That he knows he's badass.
Yeah. I love when he calls Carrie kid. I'm like, you're so cool.
It's like the hottest part of him.
It really is.
Yeah, right. That's a little bit of a daddy thing. So,
yeah.
Right, that's a,
ew, now I'm going
I think that's
weird.
No, but I think that is part of it too. I mean, you have to look at what those archetypes are. Like, Aiden, on the other hand, if you break him down as a character, he sounds great, and he's John Corbett, and he's good looking, but he was really just like a man boy that wanted help through the relationship and just sort of, and also wanted to make it done already. He wanted to go right to like just nuzzling and vacation. Yeah. Like he didn't want it. He wasn't super exciting in that way, but he was a good person.
Who was the best husband, do you think, on Sex and the City by definition? Was it Steve or was it
Harry?
Harry's
Steve.
the obviously Harry.
Harry's the best.
But Steve ended up
Harry
Charlotte.
Remember, she was engaged to Kyle MacLachlan's character, and then she ended up with the
bald lawyer.
Yeah, not Troy.
I like Steve a lot.
Oh, we always loved Steve too.
Here's the thing
Steve's a weenie. Get him
Here's
out of
what
here.
was never addressed is that Miranda and Steve named their baby Brady. And his last name is Brady. So
I
now
know
it's Brady
because I think they
Why
wanted.
Did nobody ever?
I think they were going to keep Hobbs for the kid's last name, so it's going to be Brady Hobbs.
but then they got married.
I know that doesn't make any
Well,
sense.
Brady's badass too.
Brady
Brady
squared.
yeah.
Brady squared.
He's
like-
a ginger either
If
way.
Aiden needed help through the
Ginger.
relationship, then didn't Steve really need help because he was like sleeping on Miranda's couch and like?
It's funny.
wanted to
I
have a
can't. You know what? That's right. I think I like the actor a lot. Like it's hard to remember.
Me too.
I tried to remember. I really
I'm
liked him.
asking for
I
personal.
actually love Ron Livingston, but I thought he was the worst. I mean, he was the least exciting of all of the. God, you forget all the people that were in there. Like we watched Mad Men the other day, and you remember Sterling from Sterling Cooper. He was in
Yeah.
the.
I don't.
Oh my
seen
God,
it?
Sterling he's a definition of a silver fox.
Wait,
Right.
Remember, he was the
Miranda's
politician that Carrie
that
fell in
guy?
love with on Fire. Like, remember they went to that Fire?
There was
Fire
2
Island.
episodes with
But
him.
it, wasn't he he wanted? Didn't he want someone to?
Oh,
didn't he
yeah,
want to
pee on
He
him.
wanted to pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so weird.
And wasn't there an episode with Bradley Cooper where it was something about chicken wings?
Oh.
Yeah, Bradley
Bradley
Cooper
Cooper.
goes up
Bradley's
to
in
her
it,
car.
the
That was
Cougs.
single and fabulous?
Right.
Question mark.
Oh my god!
Well, clearly I'm the
Encyclopedic
single one at the table that
knowledge.
has nothing else to fucking do with my life.
Oh my god! That's
Okay,
amazing.
so you were a fan of the show before you even got signed on to the show, Greg? Like,
Is that
Amiira
right?
was a fan of the show, and then you got signed on for the second season to just.
I feel like Jessica and I were watching it together.
Wasn't it before that? No, I guess it wasn't.
No,
Maybe. Yeah.
You have 2 daughters, right?
we have 2 daughters.
How old are they?
Did we tell our listeners they're
16
married?
and 13.
Oh, you could.
Oh, yeah,
They're
We're
married.
We're
they
married.
have children together.
Yes,
Okay, 16
Yeah.
and 13.
Yes.
So that is prime boy age. Do you help them or they don't care yet?
Can I tell you, our children are very well read and well groomed through television and films, so they have a very high standard that nobody at their high school could possibly meet.
Okay.
I'm not
Is that
kidding.
possible?
Our 16-year-old True is looking for like Matt Saracen or Tim Riggins for Friday Night Light, who is like a
You always say that.
26-year-old, who is a 26-year-old actor with Hollywood
Yes.
writers pretending to be 16 that are open to their vulnerabilities and super romantic, but also broken.
Right.
Okay,
And
but
that's just
but
what
I
all
would-
high
and
school
this is what,
boys are.
But you
really
also-
what Naz and I were looking for all of our years, which is why I was 20. I was 29 when I de-singlified myself for the first time. And
Deflowered.
I have to say that Jared is the ultimate romantic comedy romance character.
Yeah, Jared has no toxic masculinity.
Yeah, but none of those guys showed up in high school, right?
No.
They're just not
No.
there. They're not there. I mean, all of the propositions that our kids get are literally send me nudes or do you want to hook up?
Oh,
There's
no.
not.
So they
there's
tell
not-
you
there's
when-
not like let's
Yeah.
talk.
They tell you when they
Yeah.
ask for nudes, like
Yeah.
they're comfortable with you and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of it, there's a way to sort of play it. So obviously, it's all girls in the house. So I sort of stand one rung out. I don't ask, and I also don't embarrass. I don't say anything. I don't have any of that. Like, I try not to be negative about any of it, but I'm also like I'm available if you want to talk about it. You may not ever want to talk about it, and you may not want, and maybe I'm the person you don't talk with it about. But I'm interested. But I'll wait till they bring it to me because otherwise it's weird.
Is it weird though? You co-wrote. He's just not that into you. Wouldn't you be like the
Go-to daddy.
Yeah, wouldn't you be like the one person everyone's lining up to ask questions about?
Yeah, but when it's your parents, it's sort of like it doesn't matter what you did. They're kind of like, I don't know.
Right.
You know
But
what I
I
mean?
do think that they've sort of absorbed so much of the information that they're like, my parents are relationship experts, so that's not going to cut it. Like they're kind of sassy when it comes to sort of the low bar that guys sort of set for themselves.
You guys, what makes you relationship experts? I know that is sounds like, how dare she question our authority?
No,
but
no.
Really,
No,
what makes you the authority
question
on
it.
dating?
We question it all the time because I think what it is expert is just the word that they use because you're a guest on something, and so they have to give you. They're
I
not
know.
like.
I'm a bachelor expert on
Right.
access.
They-
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
go around
That's
until you
right.
become.
That's right.
Well, they wrote books.
I mean,
but
we at the beginning, even in the first book, we're like, look, we don't do this for a living.
We're not
TV
doctors.
writers. The answer's on the cover. Take
Right.
you know, like it's really simple. We're not psychiatrists. We're not therapists.
Yeah. We're just like your smart ass friends that tell you the real.
But we're-
but also think you're great. We don't have all those weird bad stories about yourself that you have.
Right, and we're also not burdened by literature pertaining to psychoanalysis or any of that stuff. We can just say, hey, look, this is the way I feel about it. Here's my experience as a man. And I've had both experiences. I've also been dumped and been, called somebody too many times and, stalked a little bit, and then I got sober. So I know what it's like to be dumped as well, and to know when you like someone who clearly doesn't like you. And then I've also done all of the things in the book, ghosted somebody or blown them off or whatever. And so I had that experience. That's it. And I had a sister who literally waited outside prisons to meet men. Like, she picked the worst people.
That's me.
It's like, if he looks like I couldn't, like, there wasn't even a thought in your mind that this might be a good person. Like, you were always like, what the fuck?
What is her complex? What was wrong with her?
Oh, I think she had a lot of daddy issues. My mom was hard on her, and there was a lot.
It's so interesting that Ashley goes after Prince Charmings and I go after criminals.
But we were raised the exact same, and our parents are both fantabulous parents.
Who's
like
older?
our dad couldn't have.
So you're a reaction to her.
I'm a reaction to her.
You're
Just
a reaction
polar?
to her. Like,
See, I think she never had a boyfriend, so I was like, well, I'm just going to get any boyfriend, so I'm not like that, maybe? I don't know.
You're reacting
I'm
to
reacting.
you're reacting to what she has said, like the behaviors that she has said, or like sort of the blueprint. You're like, yep, not for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. Well, now that I see her and Jared actually together, I want
You're
someone more like Jared.
Maybe she was onto something.
Yeah, that's it. That's what's happening.
I always knew what I was doing. Nobody believed me. Everybody's like, "Wow, Ashley's sad and desperate,"
No,
or
but
not
it's
desperate.
so good that you stayed
Ashley's
the course.
sad.
Like, you knew what she wanted, you knew what you were looking for, and you believed.
I did. I believed so hard. I did all the inspirational quotes when it came to believing. I think I almost had believe on the back of my license plate. Just like, I was like, it's going to happen. I know people think that I'm just too daydreamy, and I think that chick flicks are real life, but it's going to happen. And then it really happened.
You
in the
manifested
most
it.
chick flick way ever. Yes, totally manifested.
But you did, like, you say you're the exception to the rule in the book, but you did, like, we would say to somebody, look, this person may come back into your life, but what you have now is the opportunity to cut it off, and you decide what's going on. You take control of the situation. If you break up with somebody, that's it. You've made the move. Then you get to set the parameters. Get away from me. Don't bother me. Don't call me.
Come back to me.
Right, or this is what it'll take.
The move maker.
Yeah, right. If you're going to come back to me, come back every single day for a year and do this, and maybe we can have a chat about it later. Right? You own that space. And most people, when they break up, they're like, but we can be friends and we can hang out. And it's like, no, you can't. No, that wasn't the relationship you were in. It's like, well, I'm losing my best friend. That's not, your best friend wouldn't break up with you. Your best friend is a different kind of friend. This is a boyfriend.
Whoa, that's weird, because our parents always say, my mom has been weird. Okay, my dad says, your mom is my best friend. But my mom has always said, I don't get calling your dad my best friend. He's not my best friend. She looks at it in a completely different way.
Right. Probably because she wants to still have sex with him, and she doesn't want to have sex with her best friend. And he is probably like most older men, like he doesn't have any other really friends. And also, there probably isn't somebody else that he tells everything to besides her. She maybe has 10 friends that she talks to about stuff, but he probably is only shared those intimacies with her. So he sees it like that.
Could be.
First of all, Greg, I see you eyeing the hummus, so go and have a little bite if you
What
like.
kind of hummus is it?
It's spicy hummus.
Oh, okay. It's not really good to eat on air. I feel like it's...
Yeah, you could have one
It
bite.
could be a mukbang.
Just really quick, because I just want to wrap up the Sex and the City thing before we completely divulge into He's Just Not That Into You. Because I'd love for you to, both of you guys, to offer our listeners advice on like what they should do if they are in a situation with someone like a Big or someone that's just not giving them what they deserve. But so is it safe to say that you, Carrie, shouldn't have ended up with Big? And do you have any stories from set that you can like spill the tea on?
Well,
Both of you guys.
no, they shouldn't have ended up together. I mean, my belief is that we don't know who she ends up with, because, but that she's the one that, would decide, oh, right, he's the wrong person. And then we just don't have to pick somebody. There doesn't have to be a type, because I think that's tough. The other thing is, and I had no say. And the movies were completely different. But I was like, don't make a movie, because everybody liked it. Everybody wanted it to be the way it was. The thing I always talk about is in the original idea for the final season, it wasn't supposed to be Baryshnikov. It was meant to be Liam Neeson. And they
Oh, really?
Instead of
They-
Alexander
Alexander
Petrovsky.
They courted him and they courted him and they courted him and they took him to lunches and all that kind of stuff. And this was way before Taken. And he's like, no, I still have a film career. And we're all like, you don't have a film career. You don't. Like, you just made Michael Collins. Like, nobody, like, it just didn't. And also, nobody knew television was going to be what it became. But he did end up. He was right about himself. He bet on himself, and he became a big film star. Mm-hmm. But so you imagine him now, and at the end, he was supposed to hit her for real. And
he was
then
supposed to hit her for real.
So you know,
her neck falls off.
I don't think it was an accident.
It wasn't. You know, in this, they kind of fudged it with it. It became like a Keystone Cops thing with that fight and the running around. That was dumb. You know, because Baryshnikov is a tiny man and not big. And I think,
Liam Neeson would have done.
But Baryshnikov and Big fighting, that's two big dudes having it out, and that would have been kind of romantic and kind of cool. But it didn't go there.
Root for Alexander whatsoever.
I wonder if we would have if it was Liam Neeson.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, Liam Neeson would have been. But as soon as he turns on Carrie, everybody would have wanted. I mean, that was just the idea.
She's our heroine.
Right, but now if the story was written, nobody would let her get hit, and if she did get hit, she'd kick his ass, and then Big would just be standing there because they wouldn't do it that way.
Lola is a female-founded company offering a line of organic cotton tampons, pads, liners, and all natural cleansing wipes. And Lola doesn't only have sanitary products, they also have sex products too, which I have been using with Jack.
Wait, Lauren, I've been dying to ask you about this. How? Because obviously I have been getting none as of late. So how are the Lola condoms?
The Lola condoms are great. They're really, really thin. And they don't have like a stinky lube, so you don't smell like latex really or a lube when you're done having sex, and you don't feel like you're gonna get any kind of infection afterwards. Because I feel like sometimes those chemicals will give you infections.
Right, like you should be wary of like what you're putting on and in your body.
Right. So the Sex by Lola line is available for subscription, so you never have to worry about your period, like coming and not having enough tampons. You'll always have them ready. You'll also have condoms whenever the magic moment happens.
Which is so clutch because I feel like those are the two things that you kind of run out and get and you forget that you've run out of. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always like the day I get my period, literally every single time, I'm like, God darn it, I got to run to CVS. And if I had a subscription base like Lola, which I now do, it saves me time, saves my ass. And hello, if a cute guy comes over, you're already prepped because you got condoms in the drawer, you know?
And very thin ones, too. In addition to condoms and personal lubricant, Lola now has cleansing wipes, which go hand in hand with your period. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I definitely use them. I upgraded from the toilet paper. And the reason why I'm a huge fan of Lola is not only because they deliver it right to your door, you guys, but these things are well designed. Like, how many times have we met like a tampon we didn't like or that just like didn't fit? Like, you have those certain brands that you like, and I promise you, you're going to like Lola if you give it a try, because that's why I really love it. I love the design, and it leaves me worry free about like what I'm putting in my body because they have a disclosure of all these ingredients, and it just makes me and my partner feel more comfortable during intimacy because, I mean, whoever that partner is on the day of.
I know. I know that a lot of tampons make me itchy, actually, and these don't make me itchy.
Yeah. So basically, Lauren and I are obsessed with Lola. We really think you guys should just give it a shot. For 40% off all subscriptions, that is a massive number, 40% off. All you guys have to do is visit mylola.com, mylola.com, and enter our promo code GETIT, GETIT, when you subscribe. Again, for 40% off all subscriptions, visit mylola.com, enter our promo code GETIT, GETIT, when you subscribe, and we promise you will love us forever. Do you have any stories from set that you can like share?
No, because I wasn't on the set.
Oh, got it.
Because they shot in New York and they rode out here. So I rode out here with them and they went back to New York. I went back to the set like once or twice.
Got it.
How fun was that?
But Carrie's
job?
my favorite. Sarah was my favorite. Sarah, and then I liked Sarah, and then I liked Samantha.
Yeah,
super kind.
Yeah, she seems really
It's
nice.
really sad they don't like each other in real life.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
You know, it's like a basketball team or a band. It's like we've done enough already together. You spend enough time with anybody, you know.
Mm-hmm. One last question on that. How fun was it just to go to work and then basically you're just like the dude view? They're like, is this accurate? Like, is this the way a guy would respond? And you're like, yep, pretty much. Oh, nope, tweak that.
I mean, there are stories in there from our real lives. Like the wedding ring stuff in there is from our real life.
What?
You know,
Which wedding ring thing?
The thing where Aiden gets the wrong ring.
That's from your guys' love?
Please tell.
I want to know your love story, too.
Yeah, that was going to be our next. Because we need to know how you guys met, how the relationship experts met.
Okay, so starting with the ring story, because a lot of the stories that you see through the lens of the 4 girls in Sex and the City, 4 women, were different writers' stories and their friends' stories and different.
Like somebody, like I can't. It was I think was it Shupak was the Post-it note, right?
Yeah.
And she came in and went.
Oh,
I can't. No, she came in that morning and went. I got broken up with somebody left me. They broke up with me on a Post-it note.
Oh my God.
And we're like, what are you talking about? Like all of that stuff. Somebody, that girl goes. So I'm with this guy, and he's like, will you pee on me? And I'm like, I don't even know where we are right now. Like that stuff. Because you forget that. Like it's just where does it come from? And so those stories. But there a lot of our actual romance stuff was in there. Yep. Yeah, and the ring was part of it.
Wait, can we hear the wedding ring story?
Okay, so when Greg first proposed, he didn't have a ring, and it wasn't a banner proposal. It wasn't. He didn't say the words, "Will you marry me?" Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of like, yes.
I botched it.
Our parents also didn't have the formal proposal. They're just like, we're going to get married one day.
Wait, what was?
And then they got married.
What was the proposal, Greg?
Did you ever see the beginning of Something About Mary, where he asked that girl out standing by the tree, and he goes, "Hey, do you think we know each other from if you maybe sometime, or maybe you don't want to, it doesn't matter." And then I gave her a Christmas ornament.
No.
Yep.
What kind? Like a snow globe one?
It was an angel made out of clay with holding out a heart, but it was like it didn't have that effect. It would have been great.
I was just like
super confused.
Are you trying to ask me to marry you? He's like, it's not going well. I'm like, no, it's not. And then he handed me this angel, and I was like, I turned it over to see if there's a ring in it, because I was like, he hasn't said anything nice to me or will you marry me? So I was like, I'm not really sure what's happening.
You just kind of chickened out when it came to asking the actual question.
Yeah, I think probably like what had happened was my mother had been diagnosed with cancer, and I did it before I probably would have. I probably would have done it like 6 months later, right? We'd only been together for 9 months.
It was a little too soon, and it was that thing where.
But we were in Hawaii, and it was
too soon,
the millennial.
And I was like, I'm still not sure of the thing, but I also didn't want to break up because then we'd just gone to Hawaii, and so I was like, I'm just pretending like it didn't happen because he didn't say the words and there's no ring.
No.
So I'm going to
just kind of like the sweetest, heartbreaking story.
Heartbreaking.
What was the thought process behind the ornament?
My mom, who was an alcoholic and a woman of very peculiar, smart, Stanford grad, but she said there was a ring that she had that I knew about. So when I told her I was going to ask Amiira to marry me, she goes, "I'll be right back." And then she came back and she had the ornament, and I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, not grandma's.
And she's like, if she likes you enough, this should be enough. And I'm like,
my God.
Right, which would be fine if I like.
If you said words.
If you would have said that story.
Or if I lived in a homeless shelter, and like that was the best I could do. If I'd been in a lean-to, like if I'd been a man of no means at all, and I was like, I had to cut my finger off for this, but I had a deal with HBO. Like I had some, like there was, I wasn't wealthy by any stretch, but and I also just I'd never liked anyone enough to marry them. I loved dating. I loved being single. I liked my whole life. I was newly sober, but I'd never even thought about the ring or how you would even go about. Like I just didn't. It just didn't.
You were big.
Part of it, and here's where I made the mistake. In that story of giving her the ornament and her thinking how cute it is, that camera is pointed at me. Suddenly I'm the star of this thing where this is the best I can do. In her world, it's like, you didn't think about me at all. Didn't ask me, I knew nothing about what she wanted, and I didn't give it to her. That's not a good way to go about asking someone to marry you. You should find out, because it's their thing. If you're asking, it's their day.
Remember, Jared told that to you guys. He was like, I know I have to make this about what she wants, and I know she'll want to get married in paradise, and she'll want to do it this summer, and blah, blah, blah.
And it's not just a piece of jewelry. It's a thing she's going to wear every day for the rest of her life. So it has to have some consideration. She's not going to walk around with a Christmas ornament every day and go, also, I'm married. What is that? I'm married. I have this ornament.
Mira, were you just like, he's just not that into me?
I was just like, my whole thing was like, please don't let this be how this is happening. This isn't.
Did he make up for it?
Yeah, I was like, no. So anyway, so then to bring in the ring thing, what happened is he said, I'm told I have a family ring, like my mom's ring, but we haven't ever talked about like what kind of ring would you want, and so we're talking about the rings because I had been married once before and I had an emerald cut diamond, and so I said, well, I've had an emerald cut diamond before. I don't want to do that.
Oh, that's what I want.
And I was like, I like everything except for a marquee and a pear. I just feel like at this time, like 20 years ago, I'm like, they're just so sort of like old lady looking. Like they just are. It's just not what I like.
And it's really weird as a dude to go, what is old lady looking? It's just a diamond. Like I don't.
Right? Yeah. So something where you're like, I like a cushion. There's different rings that you like. So then.
You gotta write those down.
He did a redo where he like decorated my little cottage, and he did a redo proposal, and he had the ring. But the whole thing about it was we talked about it a number of times, and it ends up being a marquee cut.
He doesn't know what that means.
Looks like a football.
But she told him numerous times.
But also, I couldn't do anything about what the ring I was given, and I didn't have the money to.
Oh, that was the ring you were given.
Yeah.
Okay.
And and also, to be fair, there's not a person that hasn't seen it and gone, "Oh my God, that looks so beautiful on you." That doesn't mean she should like it, but it is. She's long fingers, and it's
really not me.
Wait, so you're not wearing it right now?
I never wear
She wears the band though.
I wear the band.
But that was
and
your
I'm not wearing
engagement
mine
ring.
to be fair.
Oh, that's
there we go. It's another topic. Why don't you wear yours?
I was having a surgery and I took it off, and when I went to put it back on, my hand was too fat.
So you don't want to run out and get another one that fits because you're just secure with the whole ring thing.
Go down. It's also.
Mary, does that bother you?
Not at all.
She probably didn't even notice how I said it right now.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, really?
That's
going to be an awkward ride home later.
Anyway, in Sex and the City, they talked about the difference in the points of the ring and what have you, and that's where the story came up for her finding the wrong ring and the one that he doesn't know who I am, and he has this horrible ring, and
And then the Aiden thing, I vehemently was against the. I go, a girl puts that on her chain, I leave that day. I leave that day.
Totally.
And they're like, no, he's got to stay in it and try and live with it. I'm like, that's the worst. I am telling you, there's no dude that would be okay with that. But
he was a man boy.
They fought me, and I think they were right. But the part where he comes back and goes, I can't believe I'm here again, that's something I said to somebody, where I literally got back together with somebody with the exact same. I'm like, why am I doing this again? How did I get here again? How did I just make the same choice again with the same person? We weren't trying to get married, but like that's that thing of like, man, I got to make different choices. I have to start picking better people. At that time, I dated a lot of girls that wore men's pants, a lot of punk rock chicks, and I was like, I got to do better than that next time out. And I did.
Aw. Would you have an issue if she wasn't wearing her ring?
And
if she wore it on a necklace?
It bothers me sometimes.
Yeah.
It bothers me. No, I mean, if she wore it on a necklace, given how much she wears it in general, it sounds weird to other people, so it bothers me.
Okay.
Isn't that weird that it bothers you when you don't wear yours, though?
But I literally couldn't get mine back on, and I can't. Mine's beautiful. It's got like a crown and a diamond in it, and I don't want it to... I just am, I've had like...
You're not going to put her on your chain.
Also, she never noticed. I was waiting for her to say something.
Sorry about that. I just have a friend. We feel like I know a couple people, and the guy never wears the ring, and they'll be young, hot guys, and I would never be okay with my husband at like this age going around without the ring.
Ringless.
Like he's taken.
Yeah, his age and my age are different. At my age, you're pretty okay. Nobody's looking.
I'm gonna be
You're young
honest.
and hot too.
No one's looking for
It's
it.
a little bit different with age.
It was really hot as that guy had his hip replaced.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Is it
Get
though
me
with
some
all
of
the
that.
technology, like Viagra? Like I would think that it's like I would think people older have better sex lives than we do in our generation.
But as far as like being on the prowl, like once you reach a certain age and you're like, I'm going to work or to Ralph's or Gelson's or school pickup, like it's sort of a known quantity of
the people around you know.
We're not going to bikini night at the bar or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. I think
that makes me sick thinking about someone hitting on my boyfriend. I don't want him to wear a ring. He's not even.
He better wear it.
Yeah. When you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, let's start boyfriend rings.
But I have to say that
we're gonna start selling them on IDon'tGetIt.com.
Boyfriend.
Genius.
100%. Lauren and I are doing it. We're gonna sell boyfriend rings, and they're gonna have to start wearing it.
boyfriend rings.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
What finger does
Well,
that
there's
go on?
promise rings.
I'm gonna make him do it.
Jared wants to wear an engagement ring.
I don't doubt that.
Really?
Yeah.
He's just a little mush.
Yeah. He seems like that.
I love BioClarity because it's this clean, gentle skincare line that helps me get naturally glowing skin, and it's also 100% vegan and cruelty-free. The one thing I love about BioClarity the most is that it eliminates redness and irritation, which happens to my skin with
so many products. They have great botanical ingredients like Floralux, which is derived from the chlorophyll in plants, and it makes my skin feel so soft and glowy and not red. It reduces hyperpigmentation. I love it so much. There are 2 different routines. There's a clear skin routine, which I like because it's for people who have combination, oily, or breakout-prone skin. It's 3 steps where you cleanse, treat, and restore. And then there's the essentials routine, and this is for more normal and dry skin. So depending on your type, you'll select your routine for you. BioClarity is also delivered straight to you. You don't have to go pick it up at the drugstore. It just comes in the mail. To get started on your healthy skincare habit, just go to bioclarity.com, and our listeners are going to get their first month for 50% off. A routine plus shipping is free. It comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee, but you need to enter our code, which is GETIT. Again, that is bioclarity.com, and enter our code GETIT, GETIT, and use BioClarity.
Before we get to the questions real quick, what are the signs, since you guys co-wrote He's Just Not That Into You, what are some signs that our listeners can look out for?
Well, if you're already asking yourself about, like, if you're in your head going, is this behavior okay?
If you're bargaining and making accommodations that you don't feel
if you start saying to your friends, like, he hasn't called in a week, but he's really got a job that, like, he works at the grocery store. Yeah, but it's important, and, they can't let him off the floor. Like, there's just things that you start to do where you can hear yourself. It's a weird thing. You're lying to you. Most of the time when you're telling a lie, you're telling it to yourself. Everyone else is just watching you, trying not to say something. And you're going, no, it's fine. And then in your head, your brain's going, it's not fine, actually. What are we doing? And you're like, shut up. It's fine. Because you don't want to be paranoid. And people go, well, I don't want to be a bitch about it and feel like what, that you can't ask for what you want? Be a bitch about it. It's your life. Right. If you really like somebody, you won't be bitchy about it. You'd be like, hey, man, if calling me or being around me is not your thing, let me know, because that's not how I want it to be. Amiira said at one point, look, I super want to be married to somebody and I want to have kids, and that's just the life I want. That's the one I'm looking for. If it's not the one you're looking for, that's fine. But, I was looking for the same thing. So, but she didn't say it in a way that was threatening. She didn't say it in a way that was didn't feel like it was an ultimatum. She just said, this is the life that I'm looking for as I move forward, and that was okay with me.
Did that light a fire under your butt, or were you already on the same page?
No,
okay.
Yeah.
Copy that.
Yeah.
It's been interesting because now that I have found my person, I know what a real right relationship should feel like. When girls would tell me about their boy problems and like a guy that they were dating and like their concerns about it, I used to be like so hopeful. Oh, that's gonna be fine. Oh no, he likes you. It's for real. That's a good sign. Blah blah. And now I'm stepped back, knowing what's right, and I'll listen to other girls' stories and I'll be like, oh, poor thing. He's just not that into
Yeah, that's
her.
like when we used to tell Dad about it. His response was always, that's bullshit. Yeah. That's bullshit. Because he knows how like a man's actually supposed to act.
Yeah.
Also, you're really, when you take an action on your own behalf, you're always surprised how the world acts. Like if you're, like I dated girls where I was like, nah, I'm not that into it. And then they'd just call it off. And then I'd never hear from them again. I'd be like, how did that, wait. Right? And what you're noticing is like self-esteem, like somebody that went, okay, I put myself out there, but I'm not going to wait. I'm not waiting around. And then they didn't ever call again. And then you run into that person later and you realize like, I saw them different. I guess not that I would try and make it happen again, but you realize like I probably broke up with someone I didn't know because I had a lot of ideas about who they were, but their ability to just walk away meant A, they didn't love me that much, and B, they just had enough self-esteem to go, okay, fair enough. And that's a really intoxicating thing in anything. Jobs, anytime you just are able to go, yeah, okay, I'm out.
I've heard so many guys say that. Like I've asked so many guys that are married now that are straight. I'm like, you have to let me in the male psyche. Like, are there people that you dated that you thought you could have been with? And they're always like, absolutely. But like looking back, exactly what you said, they walked away and I was just not in the mindset.
Or I didn't understand what I had because I didn't know what I wanted, because most guys don't know what that looks like.
Exactly.
Also most guys aren't thinking about it as much of anything as you think. Women do a lot of work for men in their heads, and then you're like, no, man, I was just thinking about cheese. No, but I was genuinely thinking about getting some cheese.
The amount of effort we put into decoding an emoji left under a picture is exhausting.
Yeah, but
that's all we do.
Also, that cheese combo on Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, I know. That's
epic.
what reminded me of it.
I think most
they
guys sending emojis are like,
do
you think this will
They're
make
like
me
anything.
does this make me look weird if I send an emoji? I don't know. Maybe.
They're like, whatever.
I think that women are so hopeful and analytical by nature, and And it takes so much for us to spark with somebody in the first place. We're not like men. It's not just visual. Like you have to have sort of a connection before you're like, oh, this could be something.
Yeah,
right.
And so
exactly.
You're less likely to throw those things away. But when you find yourself always trying to be okay with getting crumbs and pretend like they're a cookie, that's when you have to go, just because this person doesn't see my worth does not change my value.
See?
But if I'm letting it by accommodating or participating in it, then that's on me.
This is something, even when I was, I wasn't desperately single, even when I was very, very single, and Naz and I were both very, very single, she would always have the perspective of what's wrong with me, and I'd always say, what's wrong with them? And I've always thought that my way of looking at it has always been,
Correct.
It's good. It's a good way.
I know. I lack the self-confidence you had. Because no one ever picked me to like me back.
Nobody ever picked me either. I still thought there was something wrong with them.
Yeah. I don't know. I always thought.
But you guys are all still so young.
Yeah.
True that. I do have to say, I would love to open the floor up right now. I've been on a couple trips this month, and I've been around some friends and people who are in relationships currently and weren't so happy in them. I felt like maybe held back by them. And for the first time in my life this month, I was like, wow, I can do whatever I want, go wherever I want. I don't have a dog at home. I don't have a boyfriend at home.
It's amazing.
I don't have a kid with anyone. I can still pick my perfect person, and that's fucking amazing. And I am so happy to be single, I have to say.
So good.
I really am.
I used to tell a joke about how, the grass is always greener, and, when you get married, you end up doing things like game night and playing Pictionary and shit, and I would get emails from girls all the time. Like you're driving home fighting after a game of Pictionary. But I always get these emails from girls that are like, "I'm lonely, I'm sad. I just wish my favorite was I wish I had someone to spend my Sundays with." And all I could think was, "Fuck, you have a free Sunday? What's that like?" Fucking sleep in, masturbate, order a pizza, then
it
repeat.
really doesn't sound terrible.
No, it doesn't.
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, and it's but I do think one of the things that is difficult about relationships that are really hard is like you didn't pick somebody so you could restrain them, right? Like you love somebody and you want them to be yours, but you didn't. The reason you like somebody is because they are who they are, and the more freedom you give somebody. Look, if somebody's going to stray, they're going to stray. But the more freedom you give somebody, the less likely they are. Because what people panic about, especially as they get older, is, what if I'm going to die and I wanted this thing and we're not, this isn't working. This isn't like I thought it was going to be. And everybody feels that way. And I think your relationship should be the one place where you're allowed to be like, it's safe. It's safe. Say what you want. We can talk about it. Are guys going to feel differently about women? Yes, they are. They just are. It's just, we forget a lot of times we were just animals. We're still animals. And so there are things that are just biologically different. But the conversation and the freedom to be able to just even express that, a lot of times, I know so many people have done the like, okay, we're going to swing. We're going to do this differently. We have open relationship. And then nobody does anything. Or one person does it and the other person goes, I don't need to. And then they don't. But they gave themselves the opportunity to not fail. If you give somebody rules, they'll fail because it just is the way that is.
So you're saying don't suffocate people with your craving.
Don't suffocate with your need, but also like take a big risk and say like, look, if you think you're going to go have sex with somebody, fucking just talk to me about it. It's not what I want, but boy, I'd sure love to know about it so I don't feel weird, or so we can discuss what that is, or if there's something I can do, or if I feel that way, because it goes both ways and for different reasons. And I think why not have that conversation with your best friend in quotes? As opposed to becoming these two people that are trying to hold some sort of parameter that doesn't make sense for now. And that's why there's all the sneaking around, and that's why there's all the, and then with the phones and all that stuff, because I think most of the time when somebody's cheating on you, they don't want to leave you. They just don't, there's something happening that's not working.
Because then they would just leave you.
That's what I always say.
But there's something not happening in your relationship that you're not talking about, and it could be a million things. And the thing is that then people get ashamed, or they don't sit down and talk about it, as opposed to go, hey, whatever's going on, I don't care. Look, this is not the way this should happen. So let's talk. What is it? Where is it that this is going? And if that person can't talk to you about it, then you can go, okay, now we got to end it. But there's such a higher road to take, and it's such an easier road, and I think more people would be happy. But I think a lot of times people get in relationships and they feel, I can't even be, I can't do this or I can't do that. And also, when you're working as two people or you have kids as four, no, there's some stuff you're not going to get to do. too bad. Fucking, you should have been in the band earlier.
I love that line.
Learn to paint in the garage. Like,
that's what you're doing.
lots of time when the kids are gone. Man, you picked this. You picked this. If this isn't what you wanted, then either get out now or get it together. But don't, you can only do so many things well,
So we've been using Talkspace, which is great for all of us who are just a little bit high-strung, maybe anxious about crazy things like, you guys know my anxiety issues. Well, you can get something off your chest whenever you need to with Talkspace. You can talk about everyday challenges at work or at home, just chat about life. There are no extra commutes, no leaving the office, and no judgments. And remember that therapy isn't just for venting about your innermost thoughts or digging into childhood memories. It's also about practical everyday strategies for stress management and living a happier life. Having a therapist simply provides you with a designated person for you to talk to who is trained to listen and to help you make positive changes. The Talkspace platform has over 2,000 licensed therapists who are experienced in addressing life challenges we all face. So to match with the perfect therapist for a fraction of the price of traditional therapy, go to Talkspace.com/getit. That is TALKSPACE.com/getit. And don't forget to use the code GETIT to get $45 off your first month and show your support for this show. Again, that is Get It and Talkspace.com/getit.
You guys ever get tired of talking about this stuff?
Yes, probably.
No?
No, they're so open and dope and good
No, when we
looking.
talk to- like when we
you
talk-
guys are fucking goals. You guys are so good looking.
That's why I want to know how you met or where you met.
Yeah, who pursued
man, you guys,
who?
we could have like a 3-part series with you.
We met for the first time. I went to a barbecue at his house, but I don't remember him. I remember meeting him.
I lived with an actor, a comedian named David Cross, who you might know as
I know the name.
He's the blue guy on Arrested Development.
Oh, okay, got it.
The never
You're going to say Blue Man.
Tobias. Yeah. And he was in a show called Mr. Show and all that. So we were around a big group of comics. So we had a party at our house. And Janine Garofalo, who was an old friend of mine, came and she brought Amiira, and she was making a movie with Vince Vaughn. So Vince and Amiira and some other people came to our house, and I thought she was Vince's girlfriend, but she wasn't. But she was hot.
I would have thought the same thing too, because she is.
She is hot.
She's hot.
Guys, but anyway, so we met that once, and I didn't remember.
She's
because it was
drunk.
a house party, and I only knew Vince and Janine going there. That's all I knew. And then about a year later, up in Seattle at a music and comedy festival, I was up there trying to sign a band. He was up there doing comedy, and he came up to me in a hotel bar and was like, "I know you," and I was like, "No, you don't."
A year later.
It was a year later.
Yeah.
He remembered what I looked like. And
I couldn't remember her name because it's weird.
And he was like, "Yeah, you came to my barbecue. I live with David Cross." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, thank you for a fun time." Like, I had but we chatted for a little while,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then a few months
And you
after
watched me walk
that-
away. I saw you watch me walk away in the reflection.
So
So then I asked somebody about her, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, she's got a boyfriend. Stay away from that. She's trouble." And I was like, "All right."
So you did have a boyfriend.
I did have a boyfriend, and then a few months later, we were both at a hair salon waiting.
You guys,
in the waiting area.
fate.
It was literally
Serendipity.
We kept
3
being
times.
met by each other, and
It was called Deluxe, and it was like where Ozzy got his hair done, and all the rock stars got their hair done.
it was like all the rock. It
Yeah.
was like all like the rock people got their hair done, and
Yeah.
we were both waiting to get our hair done, and we ended up talking, and then we kept.
I said,
rotating.
"Hey, we've met before," and she's like, "I don't remember." I go, "God, this is the 3rd time, man. You got to remember."
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Talk
I
about
just couldn't see him.
unforgettable.
I just shot an HBO special.
But I
Like, you
couldn't
got to
see
get
him.
with me.
I really I couldn't see him because I was in a very dramatic relationship
you
with
had
a
a
guy
boyfriend.
that was, I was trying to separate myself from, and it was just I just couldn't. I wasn't open to anything, so I couldn't see it.
Greg, when you guys met in Seattle, were you like, "This is my wife," or was it like a thing where you guys started dating and then that's when?
Here's what it was. She looked like she was like if you were window shopping for something that's better than like she was it was more expensive than you could afford.
God, that
In my head,
line is
right?
such a line from Sex and the City.
I know, but I mean, like I was like, I don't think I'm even ready for this, man. I'm in fucking t-shirt and jeans. I'm sober for 2 years. Like I'm not really at that. I still drive a Honda Civic with cow seat covers. But then I thought, I need to do this. I deserve it. So when I ran into her there at the hair salon, I did have a moment going back to the car where I went, maybe, who knows? But I'm super like that. I'm more like a
hopeful. I remember.
What if we get married?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more. I'm a little bit more in touch with the feminine.
Damn. You got her number at the hair salon?
I invited her to a show that I was doing that night with a friend, and she came, which is unusual. And
but our friend Janine was also doing it because she called me and said, "Come see me do comedy." I was like, "Oh, your friend just told me to come too."
Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
So I went.
Yep, and Janine said you should go out with my ex-boyfriend.
And I was like, "Yeah, that's not my thing."
Yeah,
I'm not the girl that goes out with friends.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were both dating. Like I was dating other people at the time, but like dating. Like I go out with somebody and then I didn't tell them I was, but I would only if I start sleeping with somebody, then I would say, I can't. But we eventually
we started talking.
We went on a date. We started talking. We went on a date, and it went really well. And
did you ask her?
I asked her out.
Okay.
And she broke it off almost like she was like, I may have to break this off. And I was like, oh,
wait,
fuck.
what?
And then she had people show up during the date.
I had so many different stops in the thing. I had a friend staying with me. I had someone meet me on the date. I had to go somewhere for work afterwards. I was just like...
Yep. But by the end of the...
So, Mira, were you, like, not into it? You're just like, whatever, I'll go on a date with him. Like, whatever, I'm not really into it.
He had actually sent me his... He had just shot us an HBO comedy special, and he sent it to me, and it sat in my inbox at work for, like, a number of weeks, because I thought... I worked in music. I was signing bands and making records, and so I thought it was a demo, and then when I finally watched it, I was like, oh, I'm such an asshole. This guy's so nice, and he was so nice, and I just... Like, why am I not seeing this person? So then I reached out to him, and we started, like, corresponding through email and talking a bit, and went on a date, but I still had the ex-boyfriend that was genuinely...
So let me say, so I call her...
Is he your big?
Oh.
Is the ex-boyfriend?
No, he was
literally insane.
He would just come and threaten to break all the windows in my house.
Oh,
or
wow. That's toxic.
Saying, just let me sleep on your couch. And it was just very insane.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I didn't
want to drag
know
him into that.
So she called me. I took her out on a Thursday, and then Monday I sent her flowers. And
I panicked. I was like, "Oh my God, he's going to come over tonight and see that there's flowers here, and then break everything in my."
So she called me and she said,
"I can't have flowers here."
Oh no!
So she called me and she said, "The flowers are great, but I just don't really think there's this guy, and it's not really a thing." And I go, "Or you don't like me? I mean, you don't have to like me."
Yeah.
We went on one.
No one's ever said that before.
We went on a date. I like you.
feelings?
I'll be disappointed, but I'll live through it. But you don't have to pretend that it felt like a story.
Greg, you're the shit.
And she said,
you should work on Sex and the City.
Didn't it seem like she just wasn't that into you?
He thought I was making
That's
an
right.
excuse, but I'm a very literal.
So
I'm
maybe
super little. I was like.
So I said,
I don't want to involve you in this situation because this person has come unhinged, and I don't want.
You didn't give me that much information, and I said, look, whatever it is, and then you said, well, look, maybe things settle down. Like you can give me. This was in November, I think. She goes, you can give me a call in January. I said, you can call me. I took you out and gave you flowers. I think if you're interested, you can call me. And then, like, the next morning at, like, 6 o'clock in the morning, she found a reason to call me about something.
Yeah.
And then she called me every day
this
for...
This is really interesting. This is a grown-up. I've got this passionate little boy banging on my door every night. And here's a grown-up saying, you also don't have to like me. You can have your feelings. I'm not going to demand you have my feelings. And I've just been through this thing. And I was like, that is an interesting person.
So I stopped dating first, probably, but I dated maybe 2 other people. I went on 2 more dates, and then I'm like, I'm done. You don't have to be.
Aww.
But I don't want to.
Who said that?
I don't want to. I don't. Also, I was just like, I don't want to do that.
What? Has to be.
Yeah, and then she went out on one more date with a guy who made leather pants, and I was like, that's. I mean, that's on you.
My type
That's your
again.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He drove like a big Suburban, and then
you gave her a Christmas ornament, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
But it almost seems like you maybe were like, oh, whatever, I have a lot going on. And then, like, the way you acted, which was so nonchalant, Greg, you became intrigued.
I was very intrigued because I had not been dating adults.
Right.
I had been, dating
How old were you
terminal
when you met him?
adolescents.
Terminal.
Great
Probably
question.
28. Yes.
Beautiful age.
Wonderful
Right?
age.
Yeah.
I think around 20, I think I was 28, and I've been, I've been married once before. I did 4, and
So we waited a while to have sex, too. It took us about a month and a half, which is uncommon by most. I'd come over, we'd listen to listen to music together, and then we'd fool around, and then she'd go.
My
And I'd be
style
like,
girl.
really?
My style girl.
I'd be like, really? And she'd go, get out, let's go, you gotta go. I'm like,
obsessed.
oh my god, but it was worth it.
right.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our questions. We have one that's very dominating in this message board. People really want to know, is it still as simple as he's just not that into you anymore, just like it was back when the movie came out a decade ago? Because has technology changed in today's times? Is it any different now because of apps and the prevalence of texting and Instagram?
Well, the thing that's so difficult is with the apps and Instagram and all the social media stuff and the Tinder, people aren't giving themselves the time to get to know people anymore. It's literally just window shopping, and all of a sudden the world is your oyster. Instead of being able to look at 4 girls, if you go to a restaurant, now I can look at hundreds of them. So the thing that's difficult about it is people are not really getting to know each other, spending time to see if there is any sort of interest or connection or what have you. But when you do break down to spending time together, the rules still apply. Don't you think?
I think that just because you have different ways of communicating, it's really about clarity, and it's just like about people's intentions. I mean, the play that I would make if I could get my daughters to do it is go, I'm not on anything. I'm not. You can't find me anything, but I have a service you can call and leave your name, and I'll get back to you. And I'll get back to you. That blow somebody's mind. They'd be like, no. I'm gonna Google this person. They got nothing out there. I don't understand. Why? Wait. How do you know what other people are doing? I
Talking
don't.
about mysterious.
I'm deleting my Facebook right now.
Well, also that thing of like, I don't know what other people are up to. I have my own life. I got to study. I got, I have a family. I
Right,
have all
it's
those
so
kind of
attractive
things.
that you have
what I mean?
like shit to do in your life.
Yeah, and that I can't be found. I mean,
Right.
privacy, I think, is going to be the new thing that's super sexy, where it's like you can't. I'm not going to send you a picture. You want to see it? Come over, figure it out. But
Right.
be good.
You
But
want to
you
hook up?
have,
What about next?
but you're going to have to go through a series of auditions
Oh yeah,
to make
I don't
it.
post it anywhere. But also, I know a lot of guys that don't have social media, so they can cheat easier. So sometimes it's nice to see what they're doing, but then also you don't
How do
want
they
to be
cheat
checking
through the mail?
all the time.
Like, do they write somebody? Dear madam, I would like to share with you. Please write me back.
Just
Do not
keep
tell
it
my wife.
Old school on
Do not
that
tell my wife.
on the phone, just calling people, and then
Right.
no trace of text messages, just calls.
Right. Well, I mean, look at that. If
At
that's
least people are talking again.
There you go.
right, and if you're gonna have an affair, man, be neat and tidy with it. Don't what you don't do doesn't hurt you. I'm always like, if you got a boyfriend and you're happy, just don't tell me about it.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. I mean, but that's really interesting. But I do think privacy is a really interesting move. I think being able to say, or look, if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me on the phone. I'm not going to play this game with you. We're not Snapchatting. I'm not, but I think we give away our hand too often because we want to be accommodating. And so we do whatever that person wants to do. And then we find ourselves going, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah. Before we go on to the next question, I am currently in my own life liking the phone call more than texting now. I just think texting makes me overanalyze. I'm like, what does this mean? Was there supposed to be a period after this? Are they saying this in a mean way, a nice way? And I just feel like no one really calls each other anymore.
If you do FaceTime
FaceTime's
audio,
the best. Yeah.
the clarity, it's like, I know why people don't make phone calls. They're awful. They're like
Yeah.
talking, like it just feels like you're talking
Yeah.
through.
That is true. It's like I can
FaceTime
never hear
audio
my
is so
parents.
clear.
Yeah.
Right, can't hear anybody. But if you're having,
But
like I
there's
would
nothing
be.
like getting to know someone by hearing the sound of their voice
Yeah.
and hearing like what amuses them, or
Yeah.
how their inflections change, because you can't do that through text or through Snapchat or the pictures or the what have you. I think that's great. I'm pleased to hear.
Yeah, I
that.
wish I had a landline. If
Yeah.
I had a landline, I would get rid of all my technology.
Yeah, like my anxiety would go away if it was just a landline.
Oh my God, well, that's what we used
So
to have.
true.
Like you had to think about
Right.
what somebody, like you had to be home when they called you, and you had to think about them.
There was no caller ID. You don't know that they
Yeah.
called and they didn't leave a message.
Oh, it was bad. I mean, it was agonizing, but at the same time, there was something really nice about it because you had the opportunity to make less mistakes.
Hold on. We were alive when this was a thing.
But not when we were dating.
Yeah.
But when I liked boys in middle school, I'd be on the phone with them, and then my mom would fucking turn on AOL, and it'd be like, ah! I'd be like, Mom, I'm talking to Steven. You're ruining my sex life.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh my God,
I love that sound.
Oh, you
That's
did a
so
great
smart. What a
job.
good way to
Amazing.
cut it down.
Great job. All right, next question from the fans. How do you recommend attracting a guy in the beginning? Mostly the book gives tips on how to keep a guy's interest once you already got it.
I'm going to let you answer this.
I'm a firm believer of if you go to the places in your life where you shine, like where you feel confident and beautiful and are being like, a fuller version of yourself, someone will definitely come around and fuck that up with their love.
Yeah, once you become really happy and able to put your head down on your pillow at night and feel like if it was only me, I'd be okay.
That's how I got. That's how I got last year.
Right, because you're like, the same thing can happen to me. I dated
That's
this
how I am right now.
Yeah.
sober girl who like threw a skillet at me, and I called my mom one day. I go, maybe I just am in that creep. Maybe I just don't get married, man.
Yeah.
Because I've never gotten close, and I'm just like, I have my own apartment. I really like it. Like I like my life right now. I'm doing stand up. But I just dating is just like I don't want to do it,
Yeah.
And I don't care. And maybe I'm a bachelor. Nothing wrong with that. And then this one.
But I really think go places that make you happy.
Happens like that.
Go places that make you happy.
I met Scooter Braun. We all know who Scooter Braun is, yeah, at a bar. And I was like, I want what you have because I love him and his wife. And he was like, you have to go places where people are smart. And I'm like, where'd you meet your wife? And he's like, I met her at a TED Talk. He's like, you have to go places where you'll meet great people. You're not going to meet him here.
And also, probably no one's trashed at a TED Talk.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And they're open, and they're in a place where they're looking for enlightenment and stimulation.
The great thing about this is you can have.
He's holding his cell phone.
You can have sex random. You can find it's like. You used to not be able to. You'd either meet somebody and then you'd have sex with them because they were the person you met, but even if you just want to have sex, but they didn't just want to have sex, but you didn't know. But now it's like this allows you the ability to find people to do that with. Like it can be compartmentalized, and so your options are, you can do that, or you can be a person who hooks up, but you can also not hook up, right? You have those choices, and I think that makes it easier because you. You don't have to conflict. You don't have to screw somebody's life up by making them having sex with them too soon because you actually really like them. But anytime you have anything intimate happen too fast, even in a friendship, it's a little bit weird afterwards. Like, are we really that close of friends?
When Harry met Sally, he freaked out for a second.
Right.
Indeed.
Yeah. I think intimacy is something that's earned, and actually, you want it to last a long time because once you're over that thing and you're in a relationship, it's not quite like the beginning. So make that beginning last.
I don't know, but hopefully I'll find out one day.
We're going to wrap up with, you guys, tell us what the book It's Just a Date is about for all our single girls out there about to go on a first date.
It's Just Nothing Date is a book that we wrote because we were getting a lot of questions and feedback from people who were saying, like, dating doesn't exist anymore. It's all, like, apps and hooking up and hanging out in groups and meeting places, but there is no dating. Or people only want to text, they don't want to talk. It's that thing of, the great malaise of this, generation that people are coming up in is there's no formality to dating the way it used to be. And so we wrote that book that basically is, the message of it is, you set the value of your time, not anybody else. And if you want to be taken on dates, and someone's like, you want to hook up or you want to meet up, just be like, I'm available for dinner next Thursday. I'm a busy person with plans. Or if they say when you want to hook up, you go, call me for the answer. Like, it's just teaching people how to communicate and setting your values so that you get what you want.
But also, I find it really odd that, like, when I like somebody, I wanted to be alone with them.
Yeah.
Like, that's what a date is. I want 2 or 3 hours of your time, just us. I don't want other people to be around. So if it's dinner or going to play tennis or going on a hike, like, I want that thing. I don't understand why people don't.
People are
like when
nervous to be alone with themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like, get some fucking balls. Like, it's just enough already. Like, who's raising these men? I mean, that's the thing. It's like
the guy that I'm dating right now, Ashley, who was like, hitting me up on my Instagram, like, oh, when are we going to hang out? And I would say the date, Amiira, and then he wouldn't follow through. And then one day I said, he messaged me, I was like, listen, no offense, I don't have the time and energy for this, but if you want to go out, I'll go on a date. And then we went on a date. And I'm like,
and then it went really well.
But like, why even hit me up if you're not going to ask me out?
Because he has a bad habit that you just broke.
Yes.
You have to break the habits.
Naz.
It's just like school
changing lives out here. Not all heroes wear capes.
It's like, I'm not 15. I don't date. I date adults, so not Instagram.
They'll be as lazy
not on
as you
Instagram.
let them be, and also, it's a matter of, men will be as lazy as you let them be, and these type of things. But
what, Lauren? I let him.
You have to be willing to let it go, because someone else will accept that.
Lauren is like a diamond in the rough.
I let them get away with so much. People will laugh at me.
But why?
Because
I don't
want to start over.
You don't want to start over.
And that's the inherent fear a lot of people have,
you get stuck in this thing of something's better than nothing. But it might be blocking you from
you've learned so much, so you should start over. Sure. You have all this information now. Everything you do is a step on another path, and then you go, okay, now I know. Okay, so I had this crappy thing. I'm going to write all this stuff down. I'm going to remember it. I'm going to practice it. But, I mean, you're certainly worthy of having somebody follow you around. I mean, I like that Amiira made it difficult. I like that she didn't just want to come over right away. I like that it I had to really make it happen. I had to put it into action, because by the time I did, I didn't want to run. So, like, once we had sex, I wasn't like, oh, man, I was wrong. I think so many guys are like, well, I don't know what just happened, but nope. And that's because that other energy was driving it the whole time. That other energy was driving it. But eventually you get to know somebody, and that energy goes, oh, I guess we're waiting. And you know that person, then you're like, I still want to talk to you. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay. I want to stay here. It's like I've never podcast before.
You need to stop worrying about what they're feeling and concentrate on what do you feel?
Yeah, right. Who cares?
How much do you like them? Who cares how much they like you? Like, you have to start concentrating on.
That's always a question.
Where are you at with it? Because you get so concerned with how you're being received, and what if there's going to be something there for you, you stop actually recognizing what your feelings are. And that can be dangerous territory, because you can find yourself in something where you're like, oh, actually, I can't stand this person at all, or they're dumb as a box of hammers. But I was so anxious.
Nobody in this room needs to worry about whether they're good enough.
Right.
Aww. You guys, I'm obsessed with you.
Yeah.
Will you guys please come
leave
back?
It on that, but I have so much more to ask.
Will you come back? We do.
Of course we will. Yeah, we love you guys.
But it's
That'd
been
be great.
an hour, and we are so thankful for your time.
Well, thank you for having us. This is lovely.
Yeah, it's been great. We enjoyed it.
Do you have any books coming out that you want to plug, or where can people find you guys?
We just released a book a couple of weeks ago called How to Keep Your Marriage from Sucking, which is from like engagement through the first 5 years of newlyweddom. And I'm at actually.Amiira on Instagram.
I'm at Scraggers on Instagram.
We saw an Instagram of yours that said
It
yellow.
was not his.
It wasn't
yours.
his.
No.
Not his.
There's someone with the same name as yours that just has one post and it just says yellow. But it's not you.
Well, that's my least favorite Coldplay song. I can tell you that.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye.
Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.